Hello there, this is Retro Spirit Gaiden, and this is the Super NT, which is hardware. What is the Super NT, you ask me? Well, I tell you. The Super NT is a Super Nintendo. But it's a recreation of a Super Nintendo using FGPA technology, which basically means someone has deconstructed the Super Nintendo, looked at all its chips, got a programmable chip, and made, I hate to use the word clone, but they've recreated the original chips, stuck them into a PCB board, and made essentially a Super Nintendo out of all the new chips that they've got. So what this is it's a Super Nintendo which outputs 1080 images onto your TV without any compatibility problems, as far as I know. And you can tweak things to your heart's content, but it's essentially a Super Nintendo. It's not emulated, there's no lag. It works as if it were a Super Nintendo that could output 1080, which is crazy. You can do some tweakage to the video output because it takes advantage of all the things that we've learned since the Super Nintendo came out for use with LCD TVs. Are they even LCD anymore? I can't remember what the technology is. But anyway, flat panel TVs. But yeah, it runs Super Nintendo games as if it were a Super Nintendo, because essentially that's what it is. A Super Nintendo in a box. Although we do have this thing here called 64 sprite tiles, which stops sprite flickering in a few games, which is a nice little update to the Super Nintendo. Making games such as Gradius 3 a little bit more playable, as the graphics do stay on screen a bit longer. We have lots of different things we can tweak here. Look, we've got... or you can output to a normal TV as well if you buy the special box. Anyway, the back of the unit has an HDMI out, and you have a power in. You have a slot for putting in a card, SD card, to update firmware if you want to. You don't put any ROMs on this device. It runs original cartridges. And it runs them pretty damn well. It comes with 2 built-in games. It comes with the super expensive Super Turrican and Super Turrican 2, which if you were to buy the Japanese versions of those games would cost you thousands of pounds, probably. Well, I know Super Turrican is about 500 quid by itself, box copy. Cheaper on PAL, maybe. The other thing it does is it plays games from all different territories, as you can see there, and you can... get it to do scan lines if you so wish as well. So it has some options that you'd find in like emulators, but this isn't an emulator. This is a Super Nintendo with some extra bits and bobs on top of it. So you can plug in your original controllers. We're going to play Gradius 3 here. So I've got a Super Famicom controller. I've plugged it into the front, put my cartridge in, powered it on, turned the sprite limit up to 64. And so we don't get so much flicker, and we're going to play Gradius 3. There's different sound output modes as well, which emulate different chips, I guess. Again, it's not really emulation. I keep using the word, I think words like emulation. It's not what it is. It's a recreation of the actual hardware, chip-based hardware of the Super Nintendo, which runs the original Super Nintendo code as a Super Nintendo would, just using new silicon and this field gate array thing, FGPA, field gate programmable array, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, this basically plays all your games the way you remember them, outputs it to a nice big TV. There's no input lag whatsoever because that's the way it works. And it's bloody lovely. So, how do you get hold of one of these things? Well, you have to go to a website called Analogue, They're an American company. They make a Mega Drive version, which emulates the. I say emulate again. It's not an emulation, which is a Mega Drive. They're making a handheld console which plays Link's, PC Engine. What other handhelds are there from back in the day? Game Gear. So there's a handheld console, which Game Boy Advance plays those games. That's coming out soon. There's a PC Engine which has a CD drive in it, so you can play all your PC Engine CD games with HDMI out, which is lovely. Yeah, they basically specialise in making new versions of old hardware, and they're not clones. They're not. Like I say, it's not an emulation. It's kind of a one-to-one recreation of the chips in consoles. So, having said that, how much is it? Well, it's $250 on their website, which equates to about 180 English pounds. And when you purchase it, you get no cable. You get a cable. You get a cable. You don't get a joypad. It comes in a nice little box. My version came with like a Super Turrican cardboard box thing for a display, which is a bit odd. But yeah, it comes in a nice little package. It'll cost you around 40 quid to get it imported before you pay for postage. So your postage will be about 20 odd quid, and then it'll cost you 40 quid to get it into the country because they charge it as toys or electric goods or something, which incurs some sort of import penalty. So by the time you've finished paying for it, it is about 250 quid. What you do get for your money is you get a Super Nintendo that you can use on your big TV, playing all of your Super Nintendo games, which, if you have a large collection of Super NES games, is worth the investment, I would say. So here we're going to go to the video, and we're going to change the extra features, which is the 64 sprite thing. We're going to turn it off and on so you can see what happens. So there's some sprite flicker there, as you can see. So this game has notorious sprite flicker when you use these long lasers. Like, it doesn't like it at all. And the 64 sprite limit thing, turning that off, fixes most but not all of it. So there are some areas where it's obviously not the 64 sprite limit that's causing the problem, it's something else. So let's get to a little bit more of one of these sand dragon things in it, see if we can get it to flicker. The second stage in particular with the lasers, all the bubbles, goes bad. There you go, so you can see the sprite flicker there. Let's go back to the video by pressing select and down and then turn that on. You can see off and on, it fixes the sprite flicker. So the lasers flickering on and off, that's something that just hard coded into the game. So there you go, it fixes the horrible sprite tearing that you get. Anyway, you get a different boot up sequence every time you turn it on, which is interesting. Lots of little different graphics. I love this thing. I think it's awesome. It comes in 3 different colours of variations as well. You can get a black one, which looks kind of cool. You can get one which apes the Super Famicom colour scheme, and the Super Nintendo, which is groovy. And there's a different one, which is like the American Super Nintendo colour scheme. I went for the Super Famicom colour scheme. It's not a very big console. It's about as big as a PC Engine, so it's probably sort of about 20 centimeters by about 15 centimeters. Much smaller than a Super Nintendo, about half the size of a Super Nintendo. It's a fairly hefty, weighty feel to it. It feels very solidly built. The cartridge slot takes all the different size cartridges, and yeah, it comes with these 2 built-in games, Super Turrican and Super Turrican 2. So, I'll let you watch the rest of the video. We have footage from the built-in games, and yeah, it's groovy. If you've got the money and you want a Super Nintendo, rather than trying to find a Super Nintendo with the best video out chip, which is a 1-chip SNES, which are very difficult to come by, and they're going to cost you about 250 quid anyway, what you could get is a Super NT if they're in stock, and they do sell out of Super NTs quite quickly. If they're in stock, get one of these, and you can use it on all modern displays. And if you buy the DAC, the digital analog converter from the same site, you can play it on a CRT TV, which is lovely. I really like it, and I'm glad I bought it, as my Super Famicom has really soft video out, and it's got a horrible colour as well. So I was looking at buying another Super Famicom anyway, and just happened across this, and this is great. Hopefully they'll continue to manufacture them, because they are pretty damn swish. Right then, like I say, watch the rest of the videos, and see you next time. Do the Google search for Analogue NT, and Super NT, and Analogue SG for the Sega Genesis, and you'll find them in their Slickling website. Right then, ta-ra.
Power up.
Arm your assault spread shot. Missile. Power up. Shield. Missile. Power up. One up. Spread shot activated. Spread shot. Danger. Emergency.
Arms installation is complete. Good luck.